Hi guys, today I thought I would record just a quick video on liquid latex. I actually recorded the following segments a couple weeks ago, which will show you the actual application and removal. But since I've started using the latex instead of tape to protect around my nails, I've got a lot of questions of what specifically I'm using, so I wanted to show you guys. The brand that I'm using is called Fun World. Comes in this big jug, which is 16 ounces. And when you open it up, maybe a little hard to see with my webcam here, but it's just got one of those kind of normal foil covers. And instead of removing that entire thing, what I did was just poke a hole in it so that it was easier to fill up my little empty polish bottle here. So I just cleaned out an old Seche Vite bottle with polish remover and then rinsed it out well with water because I'm not sure at all how latex and acetone would react with each other. And I also picked up this little bottle from, I forget, it was either the dollar store or Big Lots, just so that I could empty it out and have an option with a more narrow detail brush as opposed to the more regular brush that's inside of Seche Vite. And I don't feel like I'm a pro with this latex yet. Sometimes I've still had some fails where it doesn't all peel off neatly, as you've known if you've seen me in the videos where I've shown it. But the key, I think, is to remove the latex while the polish is still wet. If it starts to dry, that seems to be when it doesn't peel off as nicely. But the main thing is just to make sure you close the container all the way after you fill up your smaller bottle, and close that bottle tightly in between uses because it does dry very quickly. So I feel like I'm maybe missing something, but I'm kind of trying to hurry because my show is about to come on, and I'm hoping that I covered the rest of it in the other two segments which are to come. So if you'd like to see the application and the removal, just stay tuned.
When you're applying the liquid latex, you basically just want to go around the sides of your nail and down below the cuticle. For a water marble, I generally go down a little bit further towards my knuckle than I would if I were just sponging. And I also wrap it just a little bit around the tip. You can do that more or less, but with marbling, you do tend to get some polish there sometimes. Some people I've seen able to get in really close, kind of like on the inside cuticle edge, so that you really literally have no cleanup when you pull off the liquid latex. Even with this size of a brush, I have been able to get that close, but I haven't been able to get that clean of a peel when I do it that far up. So since I figured that out, I've just been basically staying around the outside edge of the cuticle, if that makes sense, rather than trying to eliminate cleanup altogether. Use it to just kind of minimize cleanup, similar to the way that I was using tape before this, or the way that you can use the multitude of other peel-off products, whichever one is your favorite or within your price range. And you can kind of see over here on the pinky, except for some of the thicker areas, most of it has already dried and it dries clear. So by the time you finish your hand, the first finger that you did is going to be pretty much dry. And then just a couple more minutes for the rest to dry, and you can move on to doing your design. Then I'll be back in just a minute, well, a minute in the video, to show you guys how to take it off. So as you can see, I've finished marbling here, and I'm going to start with the ones that are still kind of wet, the ones that I did most recently. I'm just going to peel up the edge here at the cuticle end and peel off toward the tip and peel off that little tip bit. So you can see that came off pretty much in one swipe. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. Oops. this would be zooming in. Hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better. Finding the edge, you can usually see at least a little bit where it is. So again, you just want to kind of get it up at the edge, and then you can peel off the whole thing. That one broke a little bit. I've still got a little bit of residue on the side here, and I'm still kind of learning as far as application, like thick coat, thin coat, medium coat. Maybe I'll do a follow-up once I figure out what's actually the best. One thing I have learned is that it comes off a little bit easier if you do it while the polish is still wet. You can see here as I'm removing it around my ring finger that it's breaking a lot more than it was around my index finger, and that's because the polish on this nail and on this latex is already dry. So it's really best, I'd say, to remove it as soon as possible when you're done with your polish. If you're doing multiple layers like a gradient, you may even want to consider doing some liquid latex, doing a layer of gradient, taking it off, then doing a new layer of liquid latex if you don't want to mess around with picking it apart. So obviously in this case, the latex did not cover all areas, even considering I still have a few pieces to pick off here, but you know, clean that up with polish remover as normal. And yeah, it's a little bit easier than tape, and a little bit more versatile than tape, and it allows you more freedom of movement than tape. Really the only downside in comparison to tape is when you have it on kind of the sides of your nails. If you touch your fingers together, they will basically completely stick together, and then it will start to stretch between them and kind of pull itself off. So you have to be careful to either not touch your fingers to themselves or be prepared to pull them apart carefully. So here, of course, is the finished, cleaned up, top-coated version. And if you'd like to see the 2 tutorials that make up this design, I will include links to those down in the information box. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them. Like I said, I'm still kind of learning this myself, but as always, thanks for watching.